Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another live stream of Hearthstone. If you're watching this from the recordings that air much later, you missed out on a single episode, which would have been an hour to maybe 2 hours of news. Probably not really anything too important, but somehow I accidentally hit the hotkey on my keyboard, I assume, and caused it to stop recording while it continued to stream. Big whoops there. I've got a new CSS on the chat, CSS, so that the text should look a little bit better. Although apparently right now it's set so that the chat appears and then disappears, which that's not how I want things to work. Let's see. 2 games of any class or a single game with the druid or rogue. We need to re-roll one of these. Priest. Yes, we can. 2 priest games on the Asian account. And we have a card pack that I assume is from entering one of the contests that Hearthstone does on their websites for their esports divisions. So let's open it. If that's not the case and somebody gifted me a card pack, particularly on my Asian account, thank you, but you'd kind of have to comment down below for me to know, or comment in the chat for me to know that that's the case, because these things don't come with any messages or anything like that, and that's probably not the right way for things to work. If there should be, like, somebody gifted you a new card pack. And see, since this is my Asian account, only 2 of those cards turned to dust. Everything else is new. 257 dust is quite a lot. I'm certainly doing something different than how I have usually done dust, to see in the hopes that HS Replay can really tell me what cards I should craft. And I kind of trust HS Replay to work, because hsreplay.net, that is, because the ones, there has been one deck that they've suggested on my main account, my America's account, Priest, right? Yep. That has played pretty well, and I'm seeing a noticeable increase in win ratios. However, that being said, the other 8+ decks that HS Replay told me to play, not the greatest. Which might be more of a statement about the meta game and several of the heroes just not being good heroes to play in the current meta deck at all. Anyways, I want to rush. I say this every stream. I want to rush. I want to get through this. So I'd like to see if I could do some recording. The Amazon.com Prime Day happened over the course of the last 36 hours or so. Not the last 36 hours, but over the course of 36 hours in between the previous live stream and this one. And because of that, I was mostly into spending money instead of potentially, but let's face it, not really earning money by making YouTube videos. I would say the Prime Day sale, not super great. If you were planning on doing some major remodeling, the home improvement category had some deals, but for the vast majority of it, I really didn't get any deals. I missed out on one thing, which was to use the camera phone app. You could have gotten as much as $30 in credits towards certain purchases, and I'm not sure if those certain purchases would have ever even lined up with anything I wanted to buy. But you got $5 every time you used the Prime Day app, but you had to use the Prime Day camera search app, the Amazon.com shopping app camera search app function, like once per hour. I entered a lot of giveaways that there's extremely low chances I would win any of those. Amazon.com does do giveaways all the time, or their partners do. If you're a bored housewife and you have nothing better to do with your life, it might be worth it to enter giveaways like that. But if you're
Right away.
mostly just doing it on Prime Day, you probably have a very low chance of winning. However, on Prime Day, Amazon.com gives away some really expensive things, whereas a lot of the giveaways that are on Amazon.com normally are low quality, cheap products, something you're not interested in anyways. But at least for Prime Day, they were giving away TVs, lots of very expensive pieces of jewelry and fashion accessories such as purses, men's watches, women's watches, Gucci. In fact, it's actually quite shocking how much more expensive purchasing the price was for some of the female fashion items compared to the gadgets. They were giving away a lot of Apple products, a lot of just laptops and Windows computers products, a Nintendo Switch once. So a lot of giveaways there. Prime Day sales, though, the lightning deals, some of them were good, but not a lot of them. And I was already in a odd position because, like, I kind of have everything I already want. Like, that's kind of an odd thing to say, I know, but it is also the truth of it is that I sort of already have everything I want in life, and when you look at it from that perspective, a lot of the things on sale are
Right away.
not really worth getting if you're not going to purchase them, if you weren't going to purchase them before. And then if you have specific brands, the brands were on sale. Compared to the previous year, there was some Raspberry Pi bundles that were better. Lightning deals. Amazon Prime Day started off very badly with the crashing and the website just not being available to me or anybody else. So that too was certainly an issue. Was there really anything else that's even worth talking about?
Right away.
This is kind of the question. I'm trying to think as far as Prime Day sounds. No, not really. And so I wasted basically 36 hours every couple hours going on there saying, hey, are there any more lightning sales? Are there any more deals? For the most part, I had things in my shopping cart that I wanted to been at even like a 1% discount. That would have been helpful. You can get like 5% cash back if you use the Amazon.com credit card, but I'm not sure that that's really worth the effort. Frankly, yeah, I'm really not sure that it's worth doing all that. I'm drawing so many cards. I'm also winning, so whatever. Need to play as many priest cards while I'm doing this. There's a PC Gamer article, it says PC stuff accounted for 5% of Amazon's record Prime days. As far as video games on sale, I didn't see much of anything. So, yeah, for that factor, yeah, I don't know what else you can even really say about that. It seems like there was not a big focus on video games, consoles or games, or PC games. As far as PC equipment, not really a ton there. In fact, I was looking to get a mouse for cheap and a better deal for a mouse is happening right now, but I've already blown the budget. So yeah, just a lot of random stuff that, in theory, if you save your pennies, if you're really focusing and saying, I've got this long list of little things, like maybe like a KitchenAid mixer or something like that. If you know you want those things to start off with, and you're willing to sit on it for over a year, then maybe some of the Prime Day sales make sense then, but for the vast majority it didn't. I guess a reason why video games wouldn't have been on sale though is because you're already getting a lot of free games through Twitch Prime if you have the Prime service, and I'm not I'm not really saying that you shouldn't get Amazon Prime. It's just really a matter of, are you going to use the video service? Are you going to use the Twitch Prime service? Are you ordering a considerable amount of stuff from Amazon that you think this would actually save you on shipping? Arguably, I haven't run the numbers. It's possible that it would be cheaper to not have Prime and just pay shipping in the instances where it would be applicable.
Hey, catch! Hey, give me that! Hey, give me that!
Just keep on playing.
If you're sure.
Just hold on to that card, I guess. Anyways, let's start going through the news. So instead of what I should have been doing, what I planned on doing after Prime Day, was to start recording the game Remember Me, which in one way that's fine, certainly. In another way it kind of sucks because I really want to get back to Borderlands 2, and I really am not going to be able to. I need to do like a few hours of Borderlands 2 to fill in until October, then I need to do all the October month games, then I need to get back to Borderlands 2 again. There's just some not a great split there. It started too close to the October month. Probably was going to run into the October month no matter when I started, however. It's a long enough game for that to be a possibility.
I don't need any.
I am looking for could have potentially played that, but I don't think I actually could have. So yeah, Remember Me is a weird Don't Nod game before Life is Strange that has a weird, like, combo fighting system that I recall people didn't like, and it didn't get critically reviewed very well. That being said, it's rated very positive now, so maybe it just hit a price point where it's better. Also, I guess it's such an old game that really the only people I was listening to as far as video game critics would have been Giant Bomb. And more as I start to think about it, I feel like Giant Bomb may have just colored my opinions too, laterally. in the sense that some games may have been reviewed bad by them that are actually good. Some games that were reviewed by them that they said are good actually aren't that good. I got an interesting review on one of my videos, and I don't want to point it out, and I'm not encouraging people to harass the commenter or anything like that, but this person went on a very long speed criticizing my review. I think somewhat fairly, because I was reviewing a very old collection of games and I was viewing them from the perspective and frankly from the assumption from the word go that they were just too old to play. Like that they literally they're text-based adventure games. I'm giving too much details now. And so the old Sierra style of gameplay where and with old like CGA graphics and just bad audio, bad graphics in them. And I started from the beginning going like, this game cannot be played, it's just too old. And I have no nostalgia and I have no experience with the game, so I was going through all of them just as a stepping stone to playing a different game. And so somebody put a very long review, and they weren't holding any punches with their criticism. And I was very proud of my response, where I simply said, "You sound very, very passionate. Perhaps you should make a video to share your opinions with others," or something along that line. I'm probably misquoting myself slightly there. And certainly a lot of people on the internet have gotten comments like this. I mean, frankly, this is the exact same thing that the price shenanigan and mess was, is that somebody put a critical comment, and I just responded like that, and you know what happened? That person responded back and he said, "Thank you for your response, your respectful response. I also hear what you're getting at. Thank you anyway." So a nice, respectful, good exchange of conversation can be had on YouTube comments, even if you don't immediately get defensive and attack. I am not, I wouldn't say, particularly precious about my footage, honestly. So it's not a trigger phrase, I think, for me. If somebody comes on my videos and say your video sucks, then I'll just go, okay, well, that's probably somebody that didn't enjoy it. That might be a troll, whatever. They really haven't given me anything to respond to or act about it. But also, if you say my video sucks, there's a chance I agree with you. Like, not of the 6,000 videos I've made, they're not all good. I'm not even sure 50% of them are good. I feel like I've gotten better over the years, certainly, but as a critic, I must be critical of myself, and sometimes I'm kind of doing nothing. Sometimes the game is giving me nothing to talk about, and I've shifted away from just the old Binding of Isaac days where I just play for hours and hours and rant about anything, into trying to be more focused, more consistent, making footage that will still make sense 10 years from now and be relevant. But the one thing that slightly irritated me as far as criticisms that have ever been on my channel is when I made the horrible audio mistake on Kerbal Space Program, and then that video got a lot of traction, and then people kept commented that the audio is bad, and I'm like, yeah, I know the audio is bad, this is the best as I can do to fix it, sorry. And I commented to that, and then another person goes, your audio is bad, and I'm like, yeah, I know. And eventually I just had to make a canned response, where like, anytime somebody says the audio is bad, every time somebody commented the audio was bad on the Kerbal Space Program video, that was more engagement, and then YouTube would show it to more people, when frankly I would have preferred that YouTube had shown any of my other videos to to random people over that. And finally that happened. My video that did very well about how to set up Hearthstone deck tracker worked really good for a while, and then Hearthstone deck tracker changed, and so yeah, same canned response at that point. It's like, this is a very old video, like I can't take it down because that would hurt my YouTube channel. I still gotta get as many clicks on it as long as YouTube is presenting it to people. YouTube system is just kind of sucky like that. That I wish that there was a way that you could retract videos or replace videos, but YouTube would never allow that. But I did want to mention that, and again, I want to just say I'm not encouraging anybody to harass or jump on or bandwagon or even comment. I just want to point out there that I was proud of that, and proud of myself, which is a rarity, frankly. But there are ways to be respectful and nice, and I try to do that, and that's not something that just came naturally. Like that it's really an attempt and an effort on my part. I'm not just a naturally nice and respectful person. But the viewer is always right, or at least treat the viewer as he's always right. Like, treat the customer as if they're always right. Moving on with actual news though, Gematsu has a article, Fire Pro Wrestling World DLC plans announced. So I guess Fire Pro Wrestling World is one of the games in the Fire Pro Wrestling series that is rated very positively on Steam. People seem to like this more than they like the WWE games, which seem to be low effort or just in some other way have problems with them. And I'm looking at the trailer of Fire Pro Wrestling, and yeah, it looks like an old arcade wrestling game. And I know people put mods in it so that you have characters that look like and act like all the famous wrestlers, so that the Fire Pro Wrestling company doesn't have to actually license any of that. So this DLC is going to be several more wrestlers added. It's going to come out in fall of 2018. I could see myself getting into Fire Pro Wrestling, but I'm not sure my audience would follow me, frankly. And I don't know how well it could do. Frankly, it would be a dangerous thing to do because I'd be talking from ignorance a lot, similar to that game review. Because I don't watch wrestling. I haven't for years. Every now and then I'll see it on TV, watch it for like 5 minutes, and see that it's gotten considerably more talky and less actual wrestling. At least the WWE has. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article. Blizzard does away with the World of Warcraft battle chest pricing. So this means that all of the previous World of Warcraft expansions and elements is now just included with World of Warcraft subscription. So everything, every expansion through Legion basically is now just included, which they probably needed that level of uniformity a lot earlier than now, but they got away with nickeling and diming people. Like, but just to have a consistent, stable base, player base, you needed everybody to have the same expansions. Players new and old still need to buy Battle for Azeroth, the other upcoming expansion, which is currently runs at $49.99. That seems really expensive though. You're paying $50 on top of a monthly fee? Or does an expansion include 12 months until the next, or however much time until the next expansion happens? This is a really tiny step in my opinion to make World of Warcraft more accessible to new players. It's helpful certainly, but I don't think in the long run it does as much as needs to be done. I don't see how that's gonna be the tipping point for somebody who was thinking about playing World of Warcraft. Moving on, Your Gamer has an article. The South Park The Fractured Butthole game has a DLC called Bring the Crunch coming out this month. It's really a... South Park games really are a weird one to talk about. Like, they get some coverage because they're South Park, but kind of like the TV series for a lot of people. It's something that you may have used to watch more religiously, and now people just kind of every now and then check in. Simpsons is the same way. It's like you don't really need to watch every episode of The Simpsons. Just have some kind of form of nostalgia for it. Bring the Crunch is going to be $12 and be out for the PC, Xbox One, PS4, Switch on July 31st. And it's included as part of the Season Pass and Gold Edition. Okay, so where are we now on this? We just need to win 2 games in class. So we're already at rank 10. There's Mid-Range Hunter is supposedly the best deck we have. Let's play casual and see if this works. Like, I never played the first South Park thing. Inherently, what scares me away from South Park is not the crude humor or anything like that, although that might be a cause of concern for YouTube. What scares me away from it is that it's a RPG and that it has grind in it, and that's kind of not what I want in a story like that. I would be much more happy if South Park was a Telltale game that was just like 5 hours, and that would take the Telltale game series in a slightly different direction. But yeah, just like a story focused type experience would be much better. Let's see, PC Gamer has an article. Destiny 2 Solstice of Heroes recalls past glories and moments of triumph. The big Destiny 2 event with a new armor set and Redux missions begins July 31st. I saw something else about Destiny bringing back bounties. I'll talk about that later. Seems like Destiny 2 is trying to do a decent amount of stuff. Moving on, Gamatsu says Jake Hunter Detective Story has a new trailer. Suppose we can watch this trailer and see if it's got anything more. This game, I want to say it's a visual novel, but I'm not 100% sure it actually is. By the way, Hearthstone explained that magnetic cards, if you play them to the left of a mech, will merge, and if you play them right of a mech, they will stay separate. So there's going to be just always on the board a merge pole and a non-merge pole, a separate pole, kind of like a magnet works. I wonder certainly how that's going to play or work with the with things that resummon creatures. Like if something automatically recruits or summons a magnetic mech, and then there's a mech, just a regular mech to the right of them, do they automatically merge then? And we check that. What happens if there's some spell that at some point summons 6 magnetic things and 1 mech over here? Do they all merge together? Do they merge in couples? Does none of it merge? I would assume none of it actually merges if it's summoned by a spell, because I imagine the programming just won't be that well programmed. See, I'm looking at this trailer, and yeah, it's kind of a mystery adventure game, visual novel type thing. The trailer showed me some animation. Certainly, it's still got a unique animation style, not your typical anime style. There are some manga styles, is what I would call them, but the difference doesn't really mean much, where characters are drawn by specific artists and you can you can tell by the art style alone who has drawn them, because it's very unique, and it's an actual artist trying to do their own thing, versus so many animations or animators in Japan where they're told you're going to do this style because this style is popular, and you're not going to put any of your own like artistic ideas in it. Yeah, there's really nothing to say about this trailer. No, I'm still keeping an eye out for Drake Hunter Detective Story to see if it comes to the West. Says it's coming to the PS4 and Switch according to the tags. So keep an eye out, see if it comes to PC, see if it comes to the West, see what happens. In a similar way, Gematsu has an article for the game Crystar, C-R-Y-S-T-R. It says Crystar introduces 4 new characters, battle system tidbit, and I'm seeing some screenshots, and that's kind of it. Crystar launches on the PS4 on October 18th in Japan, and it looks like a 3D JRPG game with a more traditional anime girl style. Like, anime girl style, is that the style now? Is that what I'm calling it? I guess it kind of is. When such a large amount of the characters are female, I guess you might call it moe style, but then using that phrase is so broad now, it's not specific enough. Moving on, PC Gamer has an article. The final Hollow Knight expansion will release August 23rd. I was recommended by a fan to play Hollow Knight, so hearing that there's an expansion opens up a door for me to justify saying maybe I could get the full experience and play the entire game in some Game of the Year version. Although I'm also not sure if I'm confusing Hollow Knight and Shovel Knight. Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, fans suggested I play Shovel Knight, and I think that game is already completed. Hollow Knight is a different game, and Hollow Knight, looking at this trailer, doesn't look terrible. It might be a little bit Super Meat Boy-ish as far as difficulty and platforming, but I wouldn't immediately ignore also. So I want to see if Hollow Knight is on Steam and on my wish list, just to double check. It should be. HollowKnight.com, Hollow Knight on Steam. You can tell Steam has a bit of a monopoly since they're always the third or fourth third or fourth thing listed. Yep, Hollow Knight 93% positive in the last 30 days. As a, looks like a Metroidvania-esque game with some...
Is someone injured?
With maybe a small amount of Super Meat Boy stuff, but not so much that that would be a problem to me. I just don't want that gameplay mechanic to be the main gameplay mechanic, which is kind of weird because I would love to play a Super Mario Brothers game, but I wouldn't want it to be super hard. So I'm kind of in conflicting ways of thinking there. Let's see. We already talked about World of Warcraft. PC Gamer has an article. Ubisoft reports record first quarter PC sales surpass Xbox One. A strong back catalog of sales of games like Rainbow Six Siege and For Honor helped deliver Ubi's best first financial quarter yet. I wonder if now that Ubisoft is not under the threat of being acquired by Vivendi, are they maybe doing some shenanigans with the accounting that they wouldn't have done before, in danger of it getting caught? Maybe they're feeling a little bit bold. That is, of course, baseless speculation on my part, but it is certainly an odd coincidence. I believe there was an actual number here of just how much the old games made them. Maybe that was a different article that we'll talk about in a second. The back catalog I was thinking that was building Ubisoft sales, I would have thought would have been old Assassin's Creed games and really old games, not For Honor and Rainbow Six Siege, which are barely a year old as far as I recall. There we go. So now that Ubisoft has all this money, hopefully they can improve upon their games and stop being as greedy as they are. Well, I wouldn't recommend anybody hold their breath on that, though. PC Gamer has another article. A Star Citizen Kickstarter backer loses his lawsuit pursuing a $4,500 refund. The judge said it didn't have a case under the game's updated terms of services. So this is a interesting judgment that I think should probably be appealed and maybe taken to the Supreme Court itself, because the reason why this was dropped is because there was an arbitration clause added to the terms of service after the point in which the Kickstarter backer funded it. So and so on that ground alone, not hearing any of the other merits of the case, the judge dismissed it, saying this is an arbitration issue, where which inherently arbitration is a scam that benefits corporations over individuals. Non-video game related news also came out about what seems like a crazy court case where the Mandalay Bay is suing victims of the Las Vegas shooting so that they can prove that they're not liable for being a hotel that allowed the shooter of the Las Vegas shooting to bring so many guns into that room and shoot people. Which I don't think is gonna fly well with anybody. Certainly, but an affirmative defense basically is what they're trying to do, and I don't know how you can sue somebody in an effort to make an affirmative defense against the your liability. Now, arguably, certainly you can make the argument that Mandalay Bay actually isn't liable because one of their patrons brought a bunch of guns into their hotel, but that's a completely different court case that they're trying to avoid, and it's just bad optics, frankly. Why not instead offer turn this negative press into a positive press and offer a compensation package, a settlement to all of them for, frankly, you probably save $1 million to each victim, and in the end $1 million to each person that was actually shot would be good optics. And then I would say probably also give $100,000 to every person who was in the area. This was like the best cards ever to get a whole bunch of them on the field. There we go. But yeah, Mandalay Bay is instead of doing that, they're suing the people and make themselves look worse. So if I was going to Vegas, I don't think I would stay at Mandalay Bay. And I don't think any of the Las Vegas regulars are going to be happy with them. Like the other way they could have done that is they could have just changed their name. Change the name, sell the hotel. Moving on to video game news, though. PC Gamer has this article talking about the Gearbox is seeking a programming copy editor to frag future typos. The job listing is quote-unquote real, but not entirely serious. So this is that whole tether. I'm glad they're not calling it Tethergate, but the whole tether misspelling in the code of Alien Colonial Marines. I think though this is probably the wrong response for Gearbox, because I just don't think that it's the right response. I think they should have said, you know what, thanks, we'll fix that. Inherently, the mod that fixes that bug also mods the game in several other ways and improves it. So you still kind of want the mod. So maybe they should have just, you know, promoted the mod, and then they wouldn't have had to do any work. It's like, instead of saying, we're just going to update this point, They could have just retweeted the mod and say, hey, we heard about this great work from loyal fans, and spin it that way. Making this job listing for programming copy editor, I don't think you're going to keep this job for very long, because it's not a real job in the video game industry, and it's not a transferable title or skill in the video game industry. So if you were to get this job at Gearbox as the programming copy editor, which frankly, why not be the copy editor for all their press releases and everything, which would make, like, if you were the copy editor period for Gearbox, and part of it is you looked over programming, that would be cool. Or technical copy editor might be a better term.
Put this apple on your head.
And just because the job listing is quote-unquote real in that it's on the Gearbox job opening site between online programming and senior systems programming, but I'm pretty confident that it's not serious, and that it is in fact Gearbox rolling a bit of self-deprecating, well-played good humor. Like, I don't think that this is the right, as much good humor as it should be, frankly, because joking about something that people are already upset about is
Job's done.
not great. Apparently the person on PC Gamer's website applied, so if they actually send out any kind of responses, maybe we'll see PC Gamer write an article about that. First game on Steam today we have is an early access game called Seat of War, which it looks like it's an asset flip set in a training garage where you're shooting people inside of a building. Well, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end the turn. Well, yeah, it still looks like an asset flip, but the UI looks a little bit better. This one's 40% off for 59 cents, so you can see on the price alone it's not gonna be a great game. Yep, so not really much more to say about Seat of War. I'm not sure I have a ton of games that came out between Monday and Wednesday either. I may have missed some things, frankly, with all the Prime Day stuff going on. Let's try Murloc Paladin. Next game we have on Steam is called Adventure Hero. It looks like it's a take on Super Mario Brothers, except for if Super Mario Brothers had a sword and armor and could swing the sword and kill things. Otherwise, you've got a new style of question marks and new styles of characters. I don't really know if I want to call this an asset flip or a halfway there actually good game. I guess what it comes down to is what the amount of levels are in this. Let's see. Right now it has like one user review and it's saying it's 40%, so I wouldn't be surprised if this is actually an extremely short game. Adventure Hero is 40% off for $2.99. It's part of the Doodle God developers, it seems, or it's in that bundle. Let's see. The one review is not recommended. 0.3 hours of gameplay. When I first saw this, I had a strong old school vibe. What was delivered was a steaming pile of male bovine excrement. Options were not. We need no stinking options. Music on off, full screen on off, end of options. rebinding keys you wish. WASD for directions, space for jump, X for weapon, F for fire something. The mouse isn't used, but you can use the mouse to click on the icons to choose between options. The game doesn't claim to have controller support, it needs controller support. That's kind of a shame, but that certainly was going to be one of the issues with a game like this. Is it does visually look a lot better than most games that we see. The only thing that sticks out in my mind is one of the enemy sets seems slightly off the color palette and doesn't seem like it was made by the same animator. But with no control, none of that tight controls that you're used to having for Super Mario Brothers, you just can't have a good experience.
But we
So yeah, close Adventure Hero. Gamatsu has an article, Fallen Legion, Sins of an Empire, and Flames of a Rebellion updates to are going to update or have been updated to add Japanese voiceovers. So this is an interesting twist because usually if a Japanese game doesn't have Japanese voice acting, it never gets it added. Usually in games, for 99.9% of the time, voice acting is never added after the fact at all. And like, this is a groundbreaking thought. Now, we have seen instances where Japanese games have gotten English voiceovers, but no Japanese voice acting. And I imagine this is one of those cases where that's what's going on. They're retroactively adding Japanese voice actors because it was so popular both in Japan and in the West. Let's see. The update also fine-tunes the game's codebase to improve performance.
Ha, this guy's toast.
Players will be able to switch between the Japanese or original English voiceovers in the menus. As far as what Fallen Legion is, they look like pretty good games. Unfortunately, they're both on the PS4, and I think Flames of Rebellion is on the PS Vita also. So these are games that aren't on PC, so I can't even really do anything about it. But that is an interesting shift in mentality for the way they make games. That now, as a concept, the door is open. You could potentially see a game that has already come out do well enough to get voice actors, and it may not even be for the Japanese audience that they're adding Japanese voice actors. Frankly, a lot of the fans of Japanese RPGs like to hear the voice acting, even if they don't understand the words that are being spoken. They like to hear that just as kind of a sound effect. So it might be very much for a Western audience that they're adding Japanese voice acting. Speaking of voice acting and sound, there was a video that I watched, and I don't know where I can really talk about it, but it was very interesting about just adding sound assistance for people who are deaf and adding subtitles and covering quite a lot of relatively recent games and what they've done to add accessibility for people who are deaf. Apparently Fortnite on mobile has a sound assistance mode that does an interesting wheel that makes all the sound effects and points you in the way that a gunshot's going or a footstep is falling, but it's not available for the PC version of Fortnite.
Reporting
And then it pointed out a lot of instances of games where video games make subtitles too long. They don't have a flash of no subtitles for some fraction of a second between the next subtitle, so often the line is changed and you can't even tell. They often don't make them easily readable. Generally just speaking, the video game industry is not following any kind of standards or rules, whereas TV has a set of standards and Netflix has a set of standards for subtitles, and there's some general basic things that are not being followed. Subtitles tend to not say who is speaking, indicate who is speaking. They tend to be too long. They tend to not just stay up on the screen quite as long as you might like sometimes. They tend to take up the whole screen when they probably should be closer in the middle. The font sometimes is in the wrong color. It's just crazy fonts that aren't needed or helpful. Let's see. If I get this victory, which I don't see why I wouldn't, we'll be done with the Asian account, which is good. Moving on, Gematsu has an article. Redeemer Enhanced Edition has been announced for the PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. Redeemer is, I think, yeah, it came out on Steam in August 2017, so this is kind of like a Game of the Year edition. The Enhanced Edition will launch in August for the PS4 and Xbox for $20 and $25 for the Switch. That's crazy that you're getting this premium price for the Switch version. Now, as far as what Redeemer is, I don't think it was too much of a game, and it wasn't really critically reviewed as much of a game. It's a top-down twin-stick shooter, but it seems like you also use other kinds of weapons instead of just guns. So I almost
Happy Midsummer Festival.
Almost at this point have to think that perhaps
your magic shall not save you.
I'm gonna have to check whether the game is going to have an enhanced edition on Steam. I'm going to have to check if I really want to play it. Right now it seems there is no enhanced edition, so I don't, maybe you're not even getting the best version on PC. Or not. It was updated July 26th. And that was kind of it. So yeah, I'm gonna have to double check and see if I even really want to play Redeemer. It's mostly positive, 79% over its lifetime. So people going into it knowing what it is are happy with what they're getting. Alright, that's it for our daily quests for the Asian account. Let's now move over to the European account. And I swear I started the timer, so yes, it has been an hour. So let's just see what we're gonna need to do. I wouldn't be surprised if we get really, really lucky if we have only 2 recordings. And see, I get another card pack for every account, which is great. I can imagine it actually... Ooh, wait a minute. Why is the Tavern Brawl back? I didn't see a Tavern Brawl on the Asian account. Well, I'll have to go back and check that. Now is a great time to break it up though, so that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. I do want to point out a lot of subscriptions these days. I'm getting a nice growth of subscribers, and thank you to anybody who did subscribe. I wonder if maybe because Jacksepticeye or something else has happened on YouTube that I'm just getting promoted more and there's less people. Jacksepticeye is taking a mental health holiday, and so he's not making videos, and maybe when one of those giant YouTubers stops making videos, these us small YouTubers can pick up a few more subscribers. Thanks, Jack, if that happens to be the case. Otherwise, I have no idea why I'm getting new subscribers, but I'm happy to see them. Anyways, I was wrapping up. If you want a friend or follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Google+, Steam, or Battle.net, all of those links are down below in the description box. And if you want to support me, I'm asking people to friend me on Steam and gift me a game or a gift card, or send me a Steam game code through Twitter direct message. That's the only way I'm monetizing this channel right now. Frankly, if I get back up to 1,000 subscribers, I'm gonna just turn back on the ads and take those pennies. It feels a little less sleazy than begging for games, just to ask people to watch ads and let people turn on ad blockers if they hate them so much. That's it for this recording though. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.